on the other side, if you have a good network system and you have scouts of other clubs, you have coaches that you know, you have even agents that you know, they will be the ones that are day to day, week by week, observing players and getting notes, and they will allow you to then target those specific talents that no one is aware, and maybe that's an opportunity that you don't want to miss. Hi everyone, and welcome to the 6th episode on this new series on football club management. Today we are going to speak about scouting departments and what is the importance of the scouting departments within the organization of your football club. Because we've been discussing a lot about how to merge all the information, all the departments, all the functions of the club, and scouting departments, with the years passing by, they are getting more and more relevant. They are getting more and more important for your club to have them first established and then organized and working in synergy with all the other departments within your football club. So we're going to discuss about that. And the first thing that I want to take from the picture here is the perception that people have about scouting departments. What is a scouting department in your opinion? Because most of the people, they will consider that scouting department, it's only about observing players. And yeah, definitely there's an element of observing players, but there's much more behind that. There's much more work, organization, profiles, patterns, strategies. Everything needs to be done before the element of observing players, because you cannot just observe for the sake of observing players. You cannot just have as a strategy go to this match and observe the match. Nowadays clubs, they don't work in that way, and this is where we're going to start dissecting what are the clubs doing behind the scenes so then they can have results on finding the best talents, the best players that will fit their club, not only on the cultural side, but also on the coach philosophy and also the way of playing the game model, etc. However, there are different kind of scouting. There are different types. We can select them by, first of all, they can be part of the club. They can be part of the coaching staff. Let's imagine if you are part of the coaching staff, you might be focused on the analysis of the opponents or even the analysis of your own team. That is a reality that happens. But also, we can have, if you work for the club, you can have someone responsible for observing the selected kind of profiles that the club is wanting and looking for the future. Or you can even be part of an agency, and you can work on the scouting of a player's agent that is looking for some kind of profiles for some kind of market. So there's different ways to work into the scouting. And even when you look about that, there are different types. You can do live scouting as observing matches in real time, in local, or you can have video scouting, you can have background scouting, you can have data scouting as well. And data here is becoming bigger and bigger with all these platforms that provide a lot of information for scouts to narrow the kind of profiles they are looking for. Let's imagine that you are looking for a left back, and the left back within the game model that the club has, the coach has, within also what they are looking for and projecting for the next 2 or 3 years. They want someone that is either young or someone that can provide a performance immediately. So therefore, you might be looking for a more experienced, older profile, most likely. They're always different kind of, and this is where the strategy comes into. There are always different kind of profiles that you might be looking into, and data here will play an amazing and also decisive role, because they will help you to merge all this information that you want. Because you might want a left back that is very strong on aerial duels, defensive duels, or you might want someone that is more offensive projected, so they have an offensive exposure that will allow you also to have overlaps, to have someone that is participating a lot on your offensive model, and therefore you might need someone that is able to cover higher kilometer, higher mileage in a higher speed. So it depends on the kind of profile that you are looking for, but these are the four main types of scouting that you might be having at your club, and I will reinforce them. It might be live, it might be, of course, video, it might be backgrounds, or it might be even in background here is more related to the strategy behind it, or it might be a data scout as well. You can have even people that can merge a lot of this information. However, have to reinforce here that different kind of skill set is required for different kind of scouting types, because someone that is very experienced on the live observance, they might not be as knowledgeable on the data kind of especially with the new platforms that are always coming out with the AI and so on. They might not be so knowledgeable about all these platforms, and therefore they might not provide the same kind of performance either on observing live or observing the data. So, and this can happen on both sides. So it's very important to have people that have they are specialized and they are performance analysts in each one of them. Let's talk now about the scouting pyramid. How do you build your scouting department? What is the framework that you should be using? Well, for that one, I will give you at least 5 things that are very, very important, that they are key when you are thinking about building your scouting department. We have, of course, to start with the strategy. What is the strategy that your club is trying to implement? Are you looking for a scouting department that will allow you to make sales in the future? You're looking more for performance players? What is exactly what you're looking for? And this will be very much connected to the second element, which will be the player's profile. There's not a lot of clubs that will concern about this, but it's very, very important for you to have a clear image on the kind of profile that you want for different positions, because you want a goalkeeper to have selected areas for improvement, but you also want them to excel on some kind of skill set. And this is very important either for goalkeeper, center back, right back, left back, midfielder. You got the point. Everyone needs to have a guideline on the player's profile that they are looking for in specific positions. Now, the third element will be market knowledge. There are a lot of clubs that will separate the scouting team within some kind of markets. They will get experts on South America, North America, Asia, Europe, Africa, you name it. And within that continent, some, the bigger clubs, they have someone responsible for that specific market, and then they have a team of scouts that are on the field, and they might be looking. So let's take the example of South America. If they are in South America, they might have three people that are covering certain areas of Brazil, and then three different people to cover the other areas of the country, and again different people for Argentina and other Hispanic language countries as well. So because this will also provide an element that will speak later on this episode, which is not only for you to build a market knowledge, you also need to build a network system. And this is very important on the scouting departments nowadays and on the scouts themselves as well. Then we have the observation process. To have a clear guideline for the scouts to know what is the observation process. It might be, so let's take the same example. If you have 3 scouts covering the same area, you might want the 3 scouts to evaluate specific player in different moments, away games, home games, if they are playing against a top team or maybe a lower tier team. It's very important to gain more knowledge about the player within different contexts, within the different opponents. It's very, very important because this will give you a clear guideline about the process and about the behavior that player will have when exposed to certain levels of competition, or if they are resilient enough to face different kind of competitions, if they are more comfortable playing against their own if they are only comfortable to play at home games, so they are only comfortable in their comfort zone, or if they're okay with going away and maybe have atmospheres that are a little bit more rough on their performance. And lastly, we have to speak about the decision system. Decision system is very important for you to have also a clear framework. Why? Because this, once you have, let's say, three reports on same player within different levels of and different contexts, different levels of teams, now you know that this is the player that you want to look for, because that player showed resilience, showed a competitive system, and also competitive skills that will allow them to play home, away. They're okay with the pressure of playing away against tougher atmospheres, as we spoke before. Now, what is the decision? What is the decision system that will allow you, once you get the A levels report from this player, what is going to happen next? Who is going to get in touch with the agent or the club or the player, the family of the player? You want to gather as much information as you can about that specific player, and that will allow you to then have a reporting system that will say, yes, this is a player that we want to sign, or it's a no-go, let's not take this player because it's too risky. So the risk element here, it's very important, and that's why the decision system needs to be clear. Now, we need to go through the elements of what makes scouting a great scout. There are different elements, and this is something that, because there's a lot of people going from the coaching background to the scouting. Why? Because the tactical awareness, the tactical understanding is definitely there. And once you get there, you know exactly what to look for, and it's much easier for you to go from one department to the other as a coach, and then go to the scouting departments. However, there are much more qualities and skill sets that you need to develop. I'll give you a clear idea about some of them. First of all, we need to think about pattern detection. You need to understand the patterns within the players that you are selecting. What are the patterns that you are looking for? And even as a scout, you develop those kind of patterns. You know exactly what to look for when you are thinking about a right back, a left back, a midfielder. You know the patterns. And of course, this will only come with experience. And if there's anything that money cannot buy, is experience. You need to go through the process, the pains of selecting players that will be amazing performances, and they will be amazing professionals. And then you're going to have some people that you will think that they will have an amazing potential, and eventually they don't turn out to be that top level as you were expecting. Then that's another skill that you need to develop, which is understanding potential against performance. The ones that are ready to perform immediately, and those that need to develop their skill set, develop their qualities, either physical, technical, tactical understanding, whatever it is, or even mental. But you can see the potential. You can see that there's something to work there. And now you just need to create the right environment, the right coach, the right style, the right philosophy, and also the right environment for them to then explore their capabilities. But you also need to have a critical thinking, and this is very related to each other, because on the critical thinking, on one side, of course, you want to have the best environment for them to explode and explore also their capabilities. But then on the other side, you need to be very critical. You need to look at what the data is telling you, and don't get in love with the players. Sorry, the players, they might trick you. You know, there's a lot of things that you don't control, and it's not nothing against them. I mean, I was a player, and definitely there were things that people could see patterns within my way of working, my way of maybe be exposure to conflicts, to injuries, to the matches itself. So that's why you have a lot of scouts. They go before, they talk with the families, they talk with their friends, because you need to gather as much information as possible, and then taking all that data, you need to be critical on evaluating that specific player. Another thing is detail orientation, and this will be very much related to the club, the strategy of the club, because you need to guide your decision making within the strategy that the club has. And once you align all these elements, it's going to be very easy for you to then, of course, be detailed oriented, because you know exactly what the club is looking for, either from the strategy to the player's profile, etc. Another thing is, as I told you, the network building. You need to build a network that it allows you to not only have access to players that no one knows, or they are not so known for the public knowledge. I will give you an example. If you only go to the big competitions, the World Cups, the European Cups, the South American Cups, you know, the big competitions, of course, you only see the big teams, the big clubs, the big national teams. I mean, everyone will be there, you know. So that's you're not gonna have a privilege to be there and see and spot that talent on the first time. You Majority of the people, they are only there to confirm whatever the reports that they have from before. So on the other side, if you have a good network system and you have scouts of other clubs, you have coaches that you know, you have even agents that you know, they will be the ones that are day to day, week by week, observing players and getting notes, and they will allow you to then target those specific talents that no one is aware, and maybe that's an opportunity that you don't want to miss. And this will be very related to the integrity part of it, because integrity, it's very, very important. That's, if you are playing the long run, you need integrity. There's no other way to do it without integrity. You need integrity, respect everyone, go by good values, and don't try to surpass everyone, because that's something that once you do that, you're not gonna last long on the game, and eventually you want to last as long as you can. We are almost reaching the end of the episode. If you missed anything, and the connection about all of these to the past elements that we spoke, I will again ask you to revisit the episodes. You can check by the themes. We've been going through the mission, values, objectives, and of course the what the club wants for the future. We've been through the departments. We've just been through the technical department and the connection that this has with the scouting, because the scouting will help tremendously the technical department. We've been through a lot of things by now, and in the future we're going to be connecting even more dots, more departments to what we are discussing, because eventually you're going to need your club to be all aligned and all through the vision that you set as the objectives, and of course the mission that you are trying to accomplish. But everyone needs to be connected within the same line of thoughts, and knowing exactly what are they looking for, what are they working for, what are they pursuing. That's exactly what you want. So I'll invite you, if you missed anything, go back on the episodes, check them out, and definitely you're going to learn something from these episodes. I hope you enjoyed it. In the future, I'm going to speak about the game model as well, and we're going to start delving into the finance. We're going to delve also into the HR departments and so on and so on. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are a club, don't let the mistakes happen to you as well. Learn from these ones. Don't try to get someone to do all of that, because no one is experienced enough, knowledgeable enough to be able to allow you all these platforms to work in aligned to each other. You want someone that is expert on all these departments. I know it's hard. I know that if you are a small club, it's going to be hard for you to have all these skill sets and experts, of course, to work and help you out on these ones. However, it's very, very important to have people that are specifically designed for these tools, for these requirements, for these theories that you are trying to implement, and to help you out on all of them. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the future, because there's a lot more to come, and hopefully I'll be helping you to also design your club in a most effective way. I'll see you around. Bye bye.